Maggie May Fish said women want to go on the hero's journey. Some women do want to go on the hero's journey. And some women want to watch Twilight. What's wrong with that, Maggie May Fish? Some of them want to go on the heroine's journey.
So anyway, we'll
Hero's
probably
journey.
do the Maggie May Fish video on its own stream, and we can get Maul and Rags to come on.
Right.
Basically, it's just insane because she's crapping all over Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, but she's not actually criticizing like the concept. She doesn't go over why the concept is wrong at any point in her fucking video. There's an entire video criticizing the hero's journey, and she doesn't explain why the concept of the hero's journey is wrong. All she does is say Joseph Campbell is sexist, misogynist, racist, and so he's bad, and the things he came up with therefore must also be bad.
And that is a typical move in the woke religion. That's the thing.
Yes.
Take them down based on their sexism. But that video
that was
did
like the
get
music
me
guy
thinking.
did the same thing.
Of course.
You were just saying, oh, well, he's a bad guy, so what he came up with must also be bad. It's like, oh, okay.
That video, though, did get me thinking because she's basically arguing that the hero's journey is bad because Joseph Campbell is a sexist misogynist, and the hero's journey is like a man thing, and women want to be the hero too. So why aren't there girl bosses taking the hero's journey? And that actually is what got me thinking about Twilight. Twilight came up on the Sunday show, and I was thinking, what is the hero's journey for women? Oh, yes. The hero's journey for women is deciding what is their best option of eligible mates.
No, the hero's journey for a woman is taming a beast.
Well, okay. That's actually basically the same thing, right? Because the dilemma for the woman is, I want a strong man that can, protect me and take care of me. But at the same time, I don't want him turning all of that firepower on me.
Yeah, I want the guard dog who's nice and loyal to me, but is like aggressive to the enemy.
Which is a challenge, right? Because you don't know if you're going to, saddle up with an Andrew Tate, and the next thing you know, you're the fucking pet.
Yes. Tame the beast. There you go. Tame the beast. Yes. Well, first let me say this. There's nothing, okay, that precludes women from writing a story about a woman who goes on a hero's journey. And those stories do exist completely, obviously.
Do they? I mean,
of course, Moana,
I think
story. Frozen is that story.
Frozen falls into this category.
Yeah. There's a million stories like that.
Is she deciding over choosing out of eligible suitors in Frozen? I've never seen it, so I don't know.
Actually, there's something that I liked in it that some people didn't like, which is that in Frozen, early on, there's two sisters. The one that has ice powers is not the protagonist. The one without ice powers, is the protagonist, and she's trying to go get her sister back. And there is, I guess you could say, there's like some fighting over men, because there's like the prince from this realm who seems like a nice guy, and it seems like they're going to get married. But then she goes off on this quest to go find her sister, and she meets this other guy who's just like the average Joe, and he's more like roguish, but you can perceive that like they're going to fall in love and end up together. And so you're like, oh, is it going to be a love triangle? But I predicted from like the beginning of the movie that the prince was going to be secretly evil. So it turns out to be secretly evil.
See, that plays into the dilemma women have in the heroine's journey.
But the primary goal of the movie is not like she wants to marry some guy. The primary goal of the movie is, I want to save my sister. So I think it kind of.
But it's the B story.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe. So.
I think we should write a book. One. I think we should write a book called The Heroine's Journey.
The Heroine's Journey. Yeah.
Where we lay this out.
Well,
women want to be pregnant.
Buffy, like if we look at Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like the movie, yeah, definitely Buffy's normal hero's journey. Daenerys, I guess maybe kind of goes through the hero's journey. Sure.
What about the heroine's journey?
That's what I'm saying. Well, I'm just using hero. I don't like using gender specific terms for hero and
Yeah, but
heroine.
the
Okay.
heroine's journey is completely different than the hero's journey. I'm
Right.
I'm postulating the heroine's journey is selecting from eligible
That's like
suitors,
the sexist version of the.
and the hero's journey,
Yes.
and this even plays into the hero's journey
Yeah.
because of the whole. Do I have to give the backstory on like how men can get this, massive reproductive win if you can get yourself a harem going? If you can
Of
end up being in the B suite role?
the hero's journey, at least in modern culture, is not to end up with a harem because that's
They leave
degenerate.
the harem out, but it definitely is about
1,000 years ago, I'm sure the hero's journey ended with a harem, but not
right. But
unless you're watching a harem anime, in which case that obviously ends with a harem
but
because it begins with a
hold
harem.
on a second. What's the point that everyone goes on the hero's journey so they can become the badass, and because they leave the harem out. That's like the fourth act that they leave out to not offend anybody. But
I don't. Okay, I think you're right. I think this is a terrible take. I think it's a terrible take.
it
The
can't be
hero's
worse than
journey does
Destiny's
not.
Star Wars take. I
The
mean,
hero's journey does
it's
not
not that bad a take.
the hero's journey does not necessitate having a harem, and it never did. Okay.
Well,
There's
it ends
usually
in it
a
ends
loved
in,
one that is saved at some point. It was never described as like, gaining a harem or
but
anything like that.
okay.
In fact, that kind of goes against, I mean, that definitely goes against Joseph Campbell's whole, obviously. I mean, he didn't create the hero's journey. I think he more just wrote down what was occurring. Like he described a process that was already occurring. And in the time in
Look.
which he described it, there was no harem. Okay.
Look, when Luke, after the first movie, when Luke Skywalker goes back to Endor, no, it's not Endor. It's what's his planet?
Tatooine.
Tatooine.
He doesn't go
Okay,
back Tatooine at the end of Star Wars 1.
where's he go?
He doesn't go anywhere. He just gets his medal, and then we don't know what
I
happens
know.
till the next movie.
After the movie is over, I'm telling you what
He
happens.
goes to
Okay.
Hoth.
Okay. He goes, but on the way to Hoth
Yeah.
to
Yes.
commune with Yoda.
Yes.
He
No,
stops.
Dagobah. But okay, anyway.
Okay.
You're getting all the
Hold
nerd
on.
facts wrong.
Hoth is where the
That's the ice
snow
planet.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so he goes to the ice planet. Perfect. Ice planet.
Yeah.
When he goes to the bar with all the eligible Jedi groupies,
Yes.
does
The
he
bar
not
in the middle of the ice
right?
planet where all the rebel
You know
ladies
they
are
have
there.
one. You know they have one.
Yeah,
My
I'm sure. No, you're
goodness.
right. Yeah, I understand.
When he walks in
Yeah,
and he
they're
starts
like,
talking,
oh, there's the guy that blew up the
blew up the
Star.
Death
Right.
Star.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. How do you not know this?
Yes. They didn't have that scene in the movie where Luke uses his fame of blowing up the Death Star to like bang some random rebel chick. That didn't. I mean, that's what would happen in real life, but that didn't happen in the movie.
Well, I'm glad you at least agree that this is what would happen in real life. Like
Yes.
Luke being the guy who blew up the Death Star. He's got side women all over the place. What are you talking about?
No, but does it? What I'm saying is,
Look,
there's a
I
difference.
blew up the Death Star.
There's okay.
Don't you want to have sex with me? That's his opening line.
Okay.
But-
Sibo, thank you so much for being a free will secret for 4 months. Says the female version of the hero's journey is actually just kill the kill. Well, that's just. I mean, Kill la Kill is just the hero's journey with a woman, so which is good. That's part of why Kill la Kill is so great.
Is it?
Of course it is. What do you mean? It's like literally almost exactly the hero's journey. Do you need to bring up the chart?
She's getting revenge for her dad, though, right?
Yes.
She's avenging her dad's death.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that is. But but after Kill la Kill.
So she has the call to adventure for what's her name, like Ryoko?
Yeah.
What's her
Ryoko.
name?
Ryoko. You got it right.
I don't think Ryoko. Okay, I did get it right. Yeah, so they have the call to adventure, which is her father dying.
Mm-hmm.
That puts her on, the quest. She has supernatural aid. She meets, the talking T-shirt. Then she, gets the helper mentor from the teacher. And nudist beach. I don't know if there's really a temptation element. I guess that would be the only thing. That show is all full of death and rebirth. That show is obviously full of transformation, like literally transformation. Um, yeah, no, that's the complete that Kill la Kill is almost the complete exact hero's journey. With the only thing that there is missing is temptation. I guess, except for maybe there's the temptation episode where her friend's family gets very rich, but I don't think Ryoko ever falls into that trap. So, no, that's a great example of the hero's journey.
I'm bringing up the chart.
Nudist beach. There's
The
the group
heroes.
of rebels in Kill la Kill is called Nudist Beach because the bad guy in Kill la Kill is clothing. So
Yeah, the aliens. Oh,
they're
don't spoil it. Oh my
you
god.
literally just fucking spoiled it, you asshole.
I did I?
Yes. CT, I didn't spoil anything.
Not my fault.
CT said the last few episodes, the mother tries to brainwash her. Does the mother try to brainwash Ryoko or Satsuki? I thought. I don't remember. I don't know if brainwash. I guess brainwashing maybe it counts as temptation. I don't know, but look
So
up the
I brought up
heroine's journey.
I brought up the hero's journey. No, but the I really do think the motivation behind. Oh, I guess no. Never mind. I don't want to argue with you about it.
Uh-oh.
Why
You can bring up your stupid
even-
harem theory.
No, not even if Luke
Yes.
is a good boy, okay?
Yes.
He's a Buddhist monk.
Mhm.
Or no, he's not a Buddhist monk. He wants a wife and kids. He's like blowing up the Death Star is definitely going to increase his chances of getting a better wife, right?
Well, I mean, that's not why he's doing it. That's not at all part of the thought process.
No, of course it's not, but I'm just saying.
And since he's a Jedi, I mean, he remains celibate, I guess. At least in the
Jedis
movies.
are celibate?
Yes, that was like the weird part about. Remember the weird part about the prequels where Anakin wants to be with Padme, and they're like, "I'm a Jedi. I can't because Jedis can't have attachments and families for some reason that doesn't really make sense."
I got to admit, I blocked that out because it was so fucking ridiculous. Yes,
Adam is
I
so
do
motivated.
remember that.
Adam is so motivated by sex that he blocked that out from his brain because he just couldn't understand it.
Sitch, a lot of people are.
You more than I think the average person was when you were young.
It's in a lot of movies.
That is true. That is true. You're a child of the 80s.
For a reason.
True. Yes. You are a Gen Xer.
Is it a Gen X thing? I don't know.
I feel like, well, I'm saying there are a lot of movies in that generation, the Gen X generation, which the primary goal of the movie was explicitly to have sex.
Yeah.
Those movies have kind of fallen out of favor.
Really?
For the last 10 or 15 years. Yeah, I would say so. For good or for ill. So.
I would say for ill, but I'm just, Anyway, there are certain I'm gonna get
extended universe doesn't count anymore, guys. Disney said it was all not canon. Sorry.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm. Mahler be having fit about what?
Us talking about the hero's journey?
I don't know. Is he not like the hero's journey chart? The hero's journey, I mean, it's just the hero's journey it's like MMT. It's a description of the way stories often function. They don't have to function that way. It's just the way that they function. But
the heroine's journey, though, I think is pretty much every romantic comedy, right?
Mm-hmm. The hero's journey is like it's like a lot of movies, I'm sure, if you put them through that.
I'm saying the heroine's journey.
Oh.
Yes, that's why the only reason I'm using the gender specific term is because I'm talking about a completely different journey. Like the heroine's journey really is deciding which guy I want to marry. That's the heroine's journey, and there are a bunch of romantic comedies.
Yes,
that are, or just even romance movies are basically the heroine's journey, where it's like, I love this guy, but our families hate each other, and we're doomed star-crossed lovers.
Right.
Yeah.
Mahler would be upset by Adam's lack of Star Wars knowledge. Well, That's why I'm here. Okay.
Because I don't know the planets and stuff
You
like
don't
that.
know? I guess not. Yes.
I can't wait.
Well, I understand.
I want to do a Star Wars review video where I get all the details
All the
wrong,
details wrong.
just
Yeah.
for Mauler, yes. And
Just to
then they
trigger
go
more.
to Endor and show them going to fucking the ice planet.
Yeah. Right. I understand I think I understand what you're trying to lay out. You're trying like if you're trying to lay out that you could create like a quote unquote stereotypical male hero's journey and a quote unquote stereotypical female hero's journey, and say that they're both actually about achieving reproductive success,
Yeah,
but they do it
that's
through a different, mechanism because men and women have different reproductive strategies. Is that what you're trying to get at?
I am, yeah, but
Okay.
it's thank goodness you're here to
To Adam's explain.
Adam's playing it.
No, I understand where you're going. And
I
I think
guess you
that's
disagree though.
well, no, it's true-ish. It's true-ish, but I don't think it's beneficial for society to like view it through like a gendered lens.
It's not helpful.
Yeah, it just feels like it's not helpful.
Maybe so. It might be helpful for Doomer if he's going to write a romantic comedy or something.
Well, he already knows it. Doomer knows all about romantic comedies. That's most of his media consumption is just romantic comedies.
I really like
Doomer
that
is like
movie.
practically a woman.
Oh, now I don't want to say it. So let's move on. What? Well, hold on a second here.
Well, regarding this, so I just want to bring up. It's very interesting because like there's a lot of these. I don't know. You're probably not familiar with it, even though I think I've talked about it before. There's something called harem animes.
No, yeah, I am familiar with it now.
Yes.
Ever since you brought it up, I'm very familiar with it.
Right. And basically, the premise of these harem animes is there's a guy who is this kind of usually not very interesting or exciting main character who maybe through random chance either has some magic special power or maybe he literally has nothing special about him. And then there's like this like group of like 10 or whatever women that are all like totally want to all bang him.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously he can't bang any of them because it's like it's usually like a PG-13 rated anime or something.
Ouch.
And it's obviously there's like so it's always like done for comedic effects. But the thing that's interesting to me about it is it's the complete like antithesis of the hero's journey and everything we're talking about. Because it's not like the male character is doing any it's more like it's interesting. Harem animes are like the male version of the heroine's journey. Because it's like male Twilight. Because in a lot of the harem animes, the guy isn't really doing anything special, or he's just born special or born lucky.
Right.
Like, he's not like working necessarily.
Hilarious.
Now I'm sure there's some harem animes that fall inside this. Okay, I'm just saying the ones that I'm familiar with. The guy doesn't do anything worth necessarily being special enough to get all this attention. Kind of like Belle doesn't really do anything in Twilight, worth having this attention, except that her blood smells nice or whatever, or she's attractive to these guys. And it's just to me, it's fascinating. It's almost like people complain about the emasculation of like males or something, and it's funny because you would naturally think a show about a man getting a harem would be like the most masculine thing ever, right?
No, yeah, I had no idea. This is fascinating.
But the way that the harem animes are structured, it's like almost the opposite because usually the character isn't very masculine and they're not doing anything to do. So maybe I'm overanalyzing it. Maybe it's just because harem animes literally exist for like comedic wish fulfillment purposes.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to do anything. The women just throw themselves at you.
Yeah. Right. So maybe they're like, well, if you're, the alpha male, you're not going to be watching this anime in the first place. So maybe that's it.
So we need to fix this. We need to make a harem anime where the character goes on the hero's journey. Mm-hmm. But we actually put the last act in where he comes out as the hero, the badass, women just throwing themselves at him.
Right.
And he starts, starting a side hustle like Andrew Tate, right?
Yes.
He basically sets up his own version of OnlyFans and with his own OnlyFans stable.
Right.
It sounds horrible.
I think that's a terrible idea for an anime.
Yeah.
That's because harems make the protagonist bland so you can self-insert. The people watching them usually are like, yeah, no, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's just all wish fulfillment. Usually most isekais are power fantasies. That's why I think it was Astolfo, I think it was you Astolfo, or whoever it was that recommended Konosuba. That's why Konosuba is so hilarious because it's like a parody of the isekai power fantasy where the character goes, he gets reborn in the fantasy world and actually he doesn't have any OP powers and he actually kind of sucks. But then he actually becomes useful, because he's working hard and becoming smart. So I appreciate that.
He is going on a real hero's journey.
Yeah. Is Kazuma going on a real hero's journey? I guess he is. Like Kazuma, I mean, I guess Konosuba is the hero's journey. That's pretty. I guess it is in a funny way. In a funny way.
I never used the hero's journey much in my writing. It wasn't like a big
Well, I don't think you
focus.
should. I don't think you should go into a story like, here's the hero's journey. Let me make sure I hit all these elements. And I don't think you really need to, because I think it's kind of so ingrained in our minds that stories naturally kind of, especially movies specifically, seem to kind of naturally flow along the hero's journey. So
Yeah, I mean, if it's a hero's origin story, I think you can get something out of the hero's journey, but so many movies aren't really about building a hero. Like I said, my definition of story, and I don't, do you have a definition of story that works for you? My definition of story is very pragmatic in, if I'm going to sit down and write pages, this
mhm.
is, I want a definition that narrows it down to what am I doing here? What is my goal in filling these pages with words?
Yeah,
So,
that's smart because otherwise you can just meander into like
yeah.
doing something that's worthless or
So
a waste of
that's why I
time.
say, I'm like, somebody wants something and is having difficulty getting it. And that helps me even in scene to scene because I think, a lot of times if I read a scene and I'm like, this scene really isn't working and I don't necessarily know why, I think back, oh, because nobody in this scene wants anything. Like, what? Why am I even watching this scene? This scene is completely irrelevant. It has
Hmm.
nothing to do with the overarching goal. It has nothing to do with some intermediate goal that
Right.
matters in achieving the overarching goal. So, and
That's why
it's,
I understand. And it's funny because that's why you were getting so like weirded out, I think, by Mahler's definition of good storytelling because it was devoid of all these things that you think about.
well, it's devoid of meaning. Yeah, this is,
Yeah.
and another thing, yeah, because like I kept putting that in my mind, like, okay, I'm going to sit down to write something, and my ultimate goal is to be consistent. What the fuck do I write? Like, that's just like, what? Of course, for me, it's kind of like thinking about Adam. You're going to use words in this script. Well, no shit, Sherlock. I'm writing a fucking screenplay.
Well, hold on. Let's be a little fair. Okay.
Is
Consistency is
that? Oh, I don't want to be
okay.
unfair.
Consistency is important. Consistency is definitely important.
Yes. So is grammar. So is spelling. So is
Yeah, but a lot of um
Sitch does not know that you're supposed to put a comma before the name at the end of the sentence if you're talking to
okay.
someone.
So a
It's
lot
very
a lot of
frustrating.
movies don't have um first of all, thank you CT for adding the mop and bucket emoji. So there's your
Oh,
guys' new
really?
emoji. When
What is
someone's
that?
being
Oh,
mop and
I don't.
bucketed.
Am I mopping and bucketing
No.
now? Is
I
that
just
what's
thought
going?
about it, right now. Um, but everyone that's going to use the emoji incorrectly, but it's fine.
They're going to use it when Sam Cedar comes up.
Yeah. No, whenever someone's saying something that they don't like, they're going to say, "You're mop and bucket." That's fine. No. What I was going to say is consistency is important. And I think we talked about this a lot. The reason consistency is important, and which I don't think maybe he doesn't appreciate this as much. The reason consistency is important is because if you notice an inconsistency, it takes you out of the story and it reminds you that you're watching something that's not real.
I completely agree. Yeah.
That's why consistency is important in stories. That's the only reason, really, I would argue consistency is important. If it wasn't for that, well, why would anyone care? It doesn't matter then.
Like logical inconsistency, though, is a common trope in comedy. Like
Yeah, but it's
this,
a little different because comedies have their own rules because the absurdity, like the goal is to make you laugh and the
right?
absurdity of the situation. So like comedies play by their own set of rules,
One
I
of
would
my
argue.
favorite scenes in comedies is like a logically inconsistent gag. Like when they do trick shot with the camera. You know, the guy says I'm leaving, and they pan over to the door, and he's like already at the door faster than he ever could have got
Yeah,
there.
right, of course.
That's hilarious.
Right, but that's the joke.
Yes, totally,
That's
but it's completely logically inconsistent.
right.
But it doesn't. I mean, comedies give you a lot more leeway with the willing suspension of disbelief, which is about staying in the story. Exactly the same thing that you're talking
Right.
about. Yeah.
Uh Enlightened Centrist for 2 euros says, does porn adhere to the hero's journey? Sometimes it does.
Porn is cutting the hero's journey out and just cutting to the fourth act. I'm going to start calling it now.
Uh-huh. Listen, you so when Oni-chan's stepsister gets stuck in the washing machine, does that does that conform to the hero's journey? The hero is called he's called to arms.
Right.
He hears his
He
stepsister say,
refuses the call.
"Brother," he says, "Brother, I need your help." Okay. He says, "No, I'm playing video games." He refuses the call. I guess the supernatural aid is the fact that how does someone get stuck in a washing machine in the first place?
That happens a lot.
Oh, really? You had a lot of
Yeah.
experience with people getting stuck in washing machines?
Well, no, I see these videos where the
Oh, I
fire
know you see the
department,
videos where people get stuck in washing
not
machines.
not on Pornhub. I'm talking like on mainstream media news where some
Uh-huh.
moron gets stuck in the washing machine and they have to
Wait,
call
what?
the
How do you? I don't even know how do you get stuck in a washing
I
machine?
saw one recently that was on the nightly news.
How? How
Some
did they? What happened?
some chick like backed her way into a washing machine
Oh,
and the
well, she.
fire department had to come out and like get her out.
I know. Okay, well, so there's a difference between some dumb kid who like literally puts themselves in the washing machine because they think it's funny,
Yeah.
right? It's a
This
little different
happens a
situation.
lot.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sure it's where the idea came from.
There you go. Anyway, then you have the temptation. Okay, it literally says battle with the brother. See, there you go. You have the battle with the brother in the washing machine. The temptation, and then the ultimate reward. So I guess yeah, there you go. Porn can follow the
What
hero's
is the
journey.
what is this temptation? I don't recall that. The
Uh,
temptation.
like to go to the dark side.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Automata for $2 says, "Wait, Luke goes back to Endor for an Ewok harem." I mean, obviously,
I use the
right?
Dark Night of the Soul a lot. I think that could be analogous with the temptation.
Mm-hmm.
The Dark Night of the Soul for me is that point in the movie when everything is just lost. The hero
Cyborg
is
says, "Stop attacking my people."
what happened?
Cyborg originally was
Oh
Hassan's
yeah,
stepsister.
you're right. Anyway, you want to talk any more about Maggie May Fish or
No, we'll do the video.
sauce?
Landendorf, thanks so much for being a free will seeker for 2 months. Says Adam Campbell's entire thesis about the hero's journey is that it is universally human. It transcends time and culture. It is not gender specific.
Well, I think he's wrong.
Well, there you go.
I think he's totally wrong about that.
Well, isn't that? I thought Maggie May. That's what Maggie May Fish was complaining about. She was saying that that it only applied to men or something. Or he thought it only applied to men. I don't remember what she said exactly, but she
Maggie
was
May
accusing him of a sexisms.
Maggie May Fish said women want to go on the hero's journey. Some women do want to go on the hero's journey. And some women want to watch Twilight. What's wrong with that, Maggie May Fish? Some of them want to go on the heroine's journey.
They shouldn't. That's a bad journey to go.
See, this is what I find
Make
offensive.
the women be men.
This
Okay.
is what I find offensive about Maggie May Fish's video.
Let's get down to business.
Yeah. The girl
to
boss.
defeat the bigots.
Maggie May Fish is like a girl boss in every movie. That's her whole plot line, and it's boring. It's boring enough that well, not really boring, but it's constricting enough that there are so few satisfying stories. She wants to take away a complete genre, the heroine's journey, the romantic comedy, the romance.
Mm-hmm.
Why? The chick flick? Why does Maggie Mae Fish want to take away the chick flick?
Mm.
What are the chicks going to watch?
I don't like this take, Adam.
You don't like it?
No,
It seems sexist.
it does.
I just why it's do you like chick flicks, Sitch? You just called Doomer a fucking
I
girl.
don't. No, I don't.
Yes.
No.
So do you think
Humor is a girl.
those chick flicks make a lot of money?
I know.
Not only that, they make more money for less production cost.
Yes.
They're very they're, they're, the profit
Profitable,
margin.
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
So
Low
why
effort, high reward. Yeah.
Yeah, the hero's journey. We've got all these explosions, all this CGI. This movie's going to cost us
Right.
$200 million. Why can't we just put, a handsome guy and a fit girl in an apartment somewhere and shoot for a week?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Look, we'll film them at the grocery store. It'll be
Right.
great. Everyone will love it.
I guess what I have my contention here is that I understand what you're saying about like you're sort of mapping the hero's journey on to like a reproductive strategy. And I guess like I understand that, but I don't think that's necessary or necessarily desirable to look at the hero's journey through that lens.
Look, you know how every single hero has a fat sidekick?
No.
What do you mean?
What are you talking
You
about?
haven't noticed that?
No, that's
Every single hero has a big fat John Candy type sidekick.
Yeah.
A John Belushi. You never noticed this?
John Belushi is not the psych. Was he the sidekick in Blues Brothers? I guess he is.
It's tough to say. Maybe he is. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean,
I haven't seen Blues Brothers in forever.
Dan Aykroyd does more of the talking, doesn't he?
Look, the whole idea of being a sidekick on a hero's journey is the hero is going to get so many women that there's going to be extra women around.
Hmm.
Sitch, I'm telling you, I've got this figured out.
I think it's even if there's like a evolutionary reason for like that's why the hero's journey exists, I don't think it's metaphorically truthfully useful to conceptualize the hero's journey as just a way to get laid. And I think that's actually bad if that's the way. I don't think we should conceptualize it that way at all.
Okay.
I completely disagree with doing this.
We don't have to. I mean, you don't have to do it. I think people do it.
I know.
Though.
You can do whatever you want. I'm just saying.
Have you seen the movie Deep Impact?
Like a million years ago. I don't remember anything about it.
It's a terrible, terrible movie. The only reason I am bringing it up is because I think recently I saw a scene from that where the kid discovers the incoming comet or whatever, and like they call him out in an assembly, and some loudmouth kid in the assembly says something about, "You're going to be famous now, and that means you're going to get a lot of pussy." And I was thinking, boy, that could never be made in a movie today. Like, obviously. But it totally, it's funny because it seems like, why did they put that in there? Why do you think they put that in there?
Landendorf brought up a good point. He's like, in The Hobbit, which is a classic hero's journey.
Right.
Not about getting laid at all. Lord of the Rings.
Didn't they talk about settling down in the Shire?
Well, yeah, but it's actually the opposite because no one in the Shire gives a fuck about Bilbo going on his adventure.
None of the girls do?
No, the hobbits
Does Bilbo
don't care
die
about
sad and alone?
I mean, he doesn't have a wife in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
So maybe he does. He goes and lives off of the elves alone. And in Lord of the Rings, the only person
There's
that gets
no
a woman
scene where he comes back and he goes to the Shire and they all go
and
drinking
bangs a bunch
together.
of hobbit bitches. Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Okay.
The only people that end up with women in Lord of the Rings is Sam, which has nothing to do with his journey, except I guess the journey gave him confidence, right? But he doesn't get the woman because she's impressed with his journey whatsoever. and uh and Aragon, Aragorn.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only person that ends up with a woman. Everyone else's journey has nothing to do with getting laid. So I'm just like, and that's like one of the most classic heroes' journey. Fucking Luke Skywalker. Like George Lucas literally writes Luke Skywalker directly off of the hero's journey. Does not end up with any women
I think you
whatsoever.
can. I think you can separate your hero's journey from your family life. I think a
I
lot of people
understand
do
that. That's
that.
what I'm saying. That's why I don't like that you're just associating it with reproductive strategy. I'm saying that kind of makes sense, but I don't think you should do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. Like this is a classic, career versus family, right? And a
Hmm.
lot of a lot of women don't have families because they choose their careers over their families.
Right.
So, yeah. No, I think you're right. But
Yeah.
I do think, obviously a lot of people choose careers based on how it will affect their status, and status is important in reproductive success. So,
You could be right, but like we would lose. Okay, so one of the movies that you like a lot, Your Highness, which is
oh,
funny.
that's all that is, no, that Your Highness definitely plays into what I'm
I
talking
understand. That's
about.
why I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
Okay. Your Highness is literally the protagonist goes on the hero's journey because he wants to fuck
He said
Natalie Portman, right? Like that's the only reason. That's what's motivating the behavior. Okay.
he says in the very beginning of the movie, everyone wants to suck your dick, nobody wants to suck mine.
Yeah, he's
Like that's
literally wants
literally a line in the
right.
movie.
He literally wants to be a hero because he wants to have sex with a lot of women. Okay. But there's a
Now
reason.
I know why I love that
I
movie.
now you know why you love that movie. Because he's a man after your own heart. Okay.
This
But
is hilarious.
there's a reason that his motivation is the comedy joke motivation for the schlub character in the comedy movie.
He's the hero in the movie.
I
He's
understand
the
that, but
protagonist. But
I
you're
what I'm
right, he is the
yeah,
fat sidekick.
he's the fat psychic. But what I mean is there's a reason that stated goal is a goal that only exists in a joke comedy movie, right? But like, and
I'm not
I
sure
don't think
about
you
that.
should belittle the hero, I guess, or I don't think you should weaken or fuck up the notion of like being a hero by saying, oh, well, everyone that wants to be a hero, they just want to do it to have sex. To me, that seems like it cheapens the whole concept of the hero and the hero's journey and everything about it.
Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that.
Hmm.
Yeah. It does cheapen it. Even in Your Highness, obviously, it totally cheapens it.
Well, it
They're
doesn't in your highness
cheapening
because
it
it's
for
like a joke.
laughs.
Like that's the point of the character
Yeah,
is
you're
that
cheapening
he's
it. Come on.
right.
You're totally cheapening it for
Yes.
laughs. Yeah. No,
Yes.
if you're having a serious Lord of the Rings, Bilbo Baggins, I'm out there to save the world. I mean, there's lots of movies where obviously.
Like, because the whole point
Hmm.
of the hero character, I would argue, not just in stories, but in real life, like, is that you have a person, it kind of completely fits with your concept of morality. The hero character is the person who is willing to sacrifice themselves for the betterment of the group or their tribe
Sure. Yes.
or other people, Frodo
Bilbo Baggins'
and
reproductive success is in the people in the Shire.
right. Like when Frodo and the rest of the hobbits and everyone in the Fellowship of the Ring goes on their journey, they're risking their lives for the betterment of the world.
Yeah.
And Frodo could just say, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna stick in the higher, in the Shire. The ring is your problem, right? It's someone else's problem.
All
Someone else deal
right.
with it."
I figured it out. I totally figured it out.
And so, but I'm just gonna say, like, the fact that someone is willing to risk their life for the betterment of other people is why you lift them up as hero, status. And I don't, and I think you could probably have a good argument to say that, you know, I'm not sure people are going around risking their lives in that classical hero sense in order to like, well, maybe I'll come back and be famous and like get laid because that seems like a foolish strategy to get women, right? Is to go fight off some ultimate evil just to get laid. Like, there's probably better ways to attract women.
Where this conversation is so interesting, I forgot to send Christian the link, but I just sent it to him. So You bring up a very important point that I hadn't really considered. I'm only thinking about the reproductive success from the standpoint of the individual. But it very much is, there is this sacrifice, this self-sacrifice thing that does turn into reproductive success for the entire world, the entire village, all my entire family. That is super important and can even be divorced from, the sexual reproduction aspect that I'm joking around about now. Because, obviously, when Bruce Willis saves the world in Armageddon, he's already reproduced. He already has a kid, but he's trying to save his kid, his future, his grandkids. So, and Frodo's trying to save his entire village, which is noble, right? Sitch left. It's just like, it's just like, fuck
I'm
this.
just fucking with you.
Fuck this stupidity.
I'm just fucking with you. No,
were you really fucking with me?
I was. No, I mean, you well, that would be interesting. You're gonna say like the hero's journey is the reproductive system. It's like group selection.
Yes.
You're being lauded for group selection versus individual selection. So,
well, there's a reason why we praise people who risk their lives for others.
Of course.
Yeah. And we don't praise the coward. We shame the coward.
Right.
Yeah. The person who says, I don't want to go dump the ring in the mountain. That's scary. We're like, fuck you, coward.
Right. Well, and, I agree with you. Say like a big part, if not all, morality is trying to kind of get rid of people's selfish desires to make people more selfless. And so I guess that's why I get somewhat offended if you're going to like,
because it is ultimately selfish. Yeah, the harem.
If you're going to deconstruct the hero's journey down to just being like the selfish desire, to me that seems like a profane.
I'm glad we had this conversation.
Okay.
Because the harem's journey is definitely, that is like the epitome of selfishness. It's like not. This is why we don't like the whole Andrew Tate philosophy, because it's fucking selfish.
Of course.
This is why monogamy
immoral and selfish. Yes.
This is why monogamy is better, because monogamy is about, sharing the reproductive resources.
Well, see, that's what's interesting too, is that you could say, and maybe this is also the problem with you sort of conceptualizing like the heroine's journey differently, because under your conceptualization of the heroine's journey, that is inherently selfish. Because it's all about like, finding a reproductive mate.
I mean, we can throw Maggie May Fish in the mountain, in the Mordor. I don't care. Here's the heroine's journey. Maggie May Fish takes the ring to dispose of in the mountain. She gets up there, and we just push her in with the ring.
She's got the Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, the circle. She's gonna throw it into the fires of Mount Woke.
And then we just give her a big push.
We go, oh! She falls into, there you go. I like it.
It ends in like a little flash at the bottom. Oh, that's perfect.
Andrew Clark for $5 says, Wit and Folly is the name of a YouTube channel that has a great/terrible video on the heroine's journey. She's terrible like Maggie May Fish, and the video is about Rey in The Last Jedi. Oh, man. I'll have to check that out. Maybe we'll do a double feature.
We're really thinking out loud on this show, which sometimes I think, what the kind of thing that we just discussed would be interesting in a video. But, you couldn't really have that. You couldn't make that video without having the conversation that we just had. I've been thinking about this hero's journey thing for days.
We can clip all the hero's journey stuff.
Okay, sure, yeah. I guess we can.
It'll get no views, but it's fine. Who cares?
Give CT something to clip out.
Give CT something to do. That's right.
Yeah. Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.